So here are the weapons, and this is the final segment before I wrap things up with my final thoughts. And basically, as I said earlier, you're going to need to paint the weapons. There's no color requirement. You can do anything you want with the Crossbone. It is your model once you get it. But what I did with mine is I painted it gold, because originally I was going to do yellow or red, but I didn't have the navy blue, so I'm like, I might as well use what I got, and I had gold in the airbrush, so I'm like, why not? So I let it rip, and it looks nice. So pretty much, if you want to copy that idea, it really looks, it looks pretty good with it, and I have displayed it with it before, so it doesn't look bad, and I like it about it. But this is the primary weapon. The nice thing about it is you can take it apart and turn it into two weapons. Now, what's a master grade if it can't have weapons like this? Just check out this badass weapon right here. Definitely awesome. That's pretty much it for that. And then for the sword, it's not that difficult. This was actually like this. But you just push it down like that to have that like sword hilt thingy. And the pirate hilt thingy, or so I should say. And there you got your pirate sword. So definitely, if you think it's badass, you haven't seen nothing yet until I connect the beam effect. So once you connect the beam effect, it should stay in place. There's no looseness to it. And yeah, so the beam saber holds it in place. But this is the beam sword, or I like to call the killer. So yeah, definitely awesome. And I really like this about it. This is my first experience in terms of having something different besides beam sabers. But it's not that bad. Beam sabers, I mean. So let me just grab one of those. Grab the beam effect, show you get that as well. So when you're using a beam sabers, that's how it looks like. It's actually rather long, or maybe that's just me. But when you're not using them, you can store the hilt. And the difference I did is I panel lined it, and I also markered up the tip black. Some do it yellow, but I had too much of a bright yellow to use, so I'm like, why not? And that's pretty much it for that. And since we're still going over beams, might as well go over the last one, the beam knuckles. This probably has a better name than what I'm calling it, but just for the purposes of being simple, I'm calling it beam knuckles. Who would not get intimidated by a badass skull-looking designed Gundam with beam knuckles? Just check that out. Who would want to get punched by that? Ah! So yeah, not that bad. And again, the display options are limitless. That's what I like about this. I mean, it's a 7-year-old model. You would expect some issues with it. Besides the normal, like, finicky issues, basically, this is an exceptional model. Let me tell you right there. I mean, I am not having any regrets getting it. But besides that, let's go over the skirt. So this, I actually find a little stupid, but you can still use it. I didn't paint it, but this is like a drill thing. And it's located in the back skirt. So this is actually from the back skirt. What you do is you connect the wire, which the wire is posable, so you can do anything with it. It doesn't have any permanent thing. It doesn't have a permanence to it, so basically you can straighten it after you're done with it, or you can fold it up, loopy-loop, this, that. But the only thing I have an issue with is the fact that this has to hold it, so you have to hold it in the hand for you to display it. And I want to display the crossbone with the gun and the sword, so I never expect myself to use this, which is why I did not paint it. But there is that option. The next option would be the front skirts, and the front skirts are actually easy. But one thing I recommend is, even though you're lazy, this is actually not that difficult. Just paint this up silver, because it's chains. So it just makes the detail better. But it's optional. It's up to you, but that's what I did with mine. So, I don't know how long this video is going for, but I'm also going for final thoughts. So, if it's over 15 minutes, it is what it is. But for the weapons, here we go. So pretty much, not that bad, right? There's a ball joint connector right there that I just took the skirt off of, which this is now going to connect to. So it's going to have limitless posability. And what I mean by that is you can angle it any way you want. You can move it any way you want. You can make it look like anything. And what I mean by that is you can make it look like it's coming over here, coming over there, or you can make it look like it's coming over there. And the nice thing about it is not only that, but you can also turn this 360. So the posability and the display options are nice. And it's a nice offer. So let me just take that out. Let that skirt fall off. So yeah, there goes the finicky. That's just one prime example of why the Crossbone is slightly frustrating, I suppose. A lot of pieces tend to fall off, but that's because I'm touching it too much. So yeah, if you touch your model too much, expect some pieces to fall. That's a given. But to wrap things up, there's only one more weapon, and it actually has two features. And again, I painted the chain, so I also painted the dagger silver, like you see right here. Otherwise, it's going to be gray, like the inner frame, or like the gunmetal gray. I'm not really sure, but the inner frame is kind of glossy. But besides that, you just connect this like so, and then you got a badass dagger. And again, I don't really see myself using this because I want to have the weapons held, like the gun and the sword, so I'm not really going to use it. However, it has an optional feature of being displayed on the bottom of the foot. Badass enough, right? And unfortunately, I'm not going to put it in there because I painted it, so it gets really stiff and stuck in there. So unless I want the foot to come off as well, I'm not going to put it in there, but you can definitely put it in there if you want to. And that's pretty much it for the weapons, and I'm not really going to edit it. If it's going over 15 minutes, definitely these weapons need some justice, because it comes with a lot. And this is a 7-year-old model, and it's been a while since I've had this much joy compared to the usual master grades I get, so that should explain to you how well I think it is. You're probably thinking I'm moving on to final thoughts, but I actually forgot about something, so I want to go over that next. And yes, you can probably assume it is the cloth. So a lot of people have frustrating videos or just information and segments about how they can't mess with the cloth. It's frustrating. Well, I'm not like that. I want that cloth to be displayed, and I want to use it. So the Crossbone is badass. So if you're having issues with the cloth, definitely follow what I'm about to do. The first step of how I display the cloth is by pushing these wings down. It helps the cloth in place, and it holds it in that angle. So basically, I don't want it to go everywhere, and I want it to still be in a like displayed type angle. And that's what the wings are for. They help it in terms of like maybe I can lift this area if I want the cloth to be lifted like that. So I'll show you after I do it. But the next thing would be pushing these forward. Actually, no, you know what? That'll be later. So the first thing, got to be careful for the small pieces. They tend to fall off. But you remove the head like so. And let me see if I can get the small piece. Yep. So let me just connect that right here right now. Yeah, these small pieces have a tendency of falling off, but if you touch it too much, like I am right now. Otherwise, it's still fine. But besides that, let me just remove the torso. It's better to remove it like this, just so nothing gets in the way. And then, now to remove, open the flaps, like so. And then to begin the awesomeness phase. A pirate Gundam with a cape. Who can ask for more? I definitely can't. And here is the awesome cloth. So the shiny part is the underside. So I'm going to just do it like this. So you push that in like that. And then the second hole, like you see right there, goes like that. And this side is what you put on first. And you can probably use something else, but what I recommend is using something to push the hole in the flap to hold it down. I use a hobby knife, but obviously if you're careful enough, it should be fine. But if you're nervous about using a hobby knife to do this, don't worry about it. You can use something else. There's no requirement to it. But pretty much you just get the cloth into a certain angle, and then when you're confident, just push it up like so, and ba-bam. And then for the portion right here, the shoulder, just push that cloth down and you're good to go. And then don't push this cloth yet, because we're going to push this inside that hole, and at the same time get the hole that this side has, I don't know if you can see it, into this. And when you're confident enough, just push it in. So just wait for it. This is probably the easiest way of applying this cloth. Let me tell you, I've had so many frustrating attempts, but I finally perfected it when I wanted to display this. So basically after that, you just push or pull the cloth forward like so, just to reveal the same amount of revealing that the other side has. And there we go. That is pretty much it. And the only difference I did that probably others didn't is I didn't use that sticker to fold up. I used the hobby knife to cut the excess. Just because I couldn't use the sticker, it was impossible just to fold that thing. But here is why you remove the head. After you do it like so, you pop the head back in the connector, and ba-bam! The cloth is not getting in the way of the face, and it still has flexibility, so you can do almost anything with the head in terms of posing it in a certain angle, and it still looks badass. And if you want to adjust it a little, maybe just push this cloth in to the hole a little more, like I am doing right now, and you're pretty much done. And that's pretty much the only difficulty. The next would be to attach everything back together, like so, and just be on the lookout for some loose pieces. The back skirt just popped off, so let me just try to connect that like so, and there we go. There we have it, the cloth. This is probably the first official video showing you how to legit put on this cloth, and this is the easiest and only way I've seen it being able to go on without any stress. Doesn't take that much time, and afterwards you can just display it in any dynamic angle you want, and there's no requirement for having like 2 or 3 videos. It's best just to keep it in one video. So if this is over 15 minutes, bear with me. This is important stuff if you have a crossbone and if you want to display this the cape. But after that, now it's just for visual preference. Just pose the legs any way you want, and use the wings on the back to angle the cloth in a certain angle you want, or the cape. Doesn't need a special name to it. Crossbone cape, that's what we'll say for now. And then also, another thing that I use is, because nobody looks at the back, or at least I don't, I use the wings to also hold on to the cloth in case I don't want to reveal too much in the front. Like, what I mean is, I don't want too much in the front, if that can if that's simple enough. So basically, you just hold that down like so, and then adjust the face, push it up maybe a little, put some cloth under it, like so, and then, ba-bam! That's pretty much it. That's about it. That's all I'm really gonna mess with it on video. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and let's move over to final thoughts, if the crossbone can decide to stay up, of course. So here's the crossbone, and for my final thoughts, honestly, this is like the first master grade that I've actually gotten that's really older than the usual experienced models that I get. But personally, I actually like it. There's actually a lot of good features about the crossbone, and honestly, the real thing that suckered me in is the skulls and the badass designs. Like, compared to the usual experiences that I've had, especially in the Age series, I really felt really irritated and frustrated with the designs, especially with the theme and the badass display that the crossbone can be showed in. It really made me happy. The only unfortunate thing that I really have to say about it is that it's finicky. Some parts tend to get loose, some parts tend to fall off, and this and that. And again, it's because you touch it too much, or this or that. But basically, besides that, there's actually nothing legitimately wrong with the crossbone, because all these issues here and there, that's to be expected, and it's to be expected in all models. What I mean by that is, like, even models like the new Verka, the Jesta, the Senaju Stein, all these models, they do look good, but they have just as many flaws as the crossbone. So that shouldn't limit you or tempt you otherwise in terms of getting one. The only thing that I would actually say is that this there's actually 2 options: the X-1 Verka or the X-1 full cloth. And the difference between the two is the full cloth comes with the plastic cape version of this cape. Not only that, but it also comes with a better sword and that gun. The downside is you have to paint those just as you have to paint the weapons that the Crossbone X-1 Verka comes in. But for the most part, do I recommend it? Yes. It's an exceptional model, and I really had no regrets with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and if you're looking for any more questions, leave a comment below. As always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and check out the links below. This is FlashX007, Signing out. Hope you guys enjoyed.